Hey y'all, it's Renegade, and it's time to spill more reality on all things RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10. We're in the midst of the Tournament of All-Stars, so make sure you like and subscribe because you're not going to want to miss a single drop of content this season. On this podcast, we will get our final taste of All-Stars drama from our pink bracket as they face off in their final Rusical Reboot challenge, and one last MVQ ceremony determines which three queens become our next semi-finalists. But before we begin, let me introduce our co-host, and I knew he was gonna be a fake-ass bitch. It's QuackrrJack. Jack, we capped off our second favorite bracket here. Actually, I think it was my favorite bracket here of all time, but our second bracket officially has been capped off here, and it's kind of sad. Feels like the end of an era in a lot of ways. But Jack, what are your thoughts following tonight's episode? Since we're actually recording on Friday night for once.
Um, I feel very congenial era.
Look,
I
you've
feel
never
like
been congenial here, you
I know,
liar,
I know. I've never been one congenial era, but
liar.
I feel like this has been, to say the least, an expected outcome. If nothing else, I don't think that this was going any other way, and it feels very rigorous by the production. But we can get into it.
Ooh, it does feel in a lot of ways that this pink bracket took like a turn in terms of judging because I think the right queens moved on, but I don't think I
Right? I don't
necessarily
know about
would
that.
have judged the things in the order that they did. I feel like there's a lot of things within this we could kind of pick apart to be like, yeah, I don't think that person maybe was in the top here. They might have been in the top here, but not here. And then there's certain people that they just kind of I felt like maybe didn't give credit to at all whatsoever, especially once they knew where things were kind of playing out based off where the points were going. So I do agree with you here and there, but I do ultimately kind of think they made the right decision in some areas. I don't know. Based off of maybe this challenge and how they've done all season long, but it's only been 3 episodes, so.
They didn't
um,
even do this last challenge correctly, judged. So I don't know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
I agree. I don't think any other than maybe Tina getting the top spot in the very first challenge was judged right. Other than that, I could be like, yeah, I don't know about any of these top twos, but let's go ahead and we could just kind of dive into the episode because it was definitely an episode and kind of right from the start you could tell like the bottom girls are ready to get some points in even though their wicked stepsisters Jorgeous and Mistress had just won the challenge and split their points. It's really the twink Miss Lydia B. Kollins who has kind of decided to be the real demon this time around here, where after the points are distributed here, we get Nicole deciding to go first to do what she actually wanted to do last week, which is give Kerri Colby her points, so that's what she does. And Kerri ultimately decides that she wants to stay true to her newly made alliance with Lydia by giving her point to her. So, wondering why Kerri didn't reciprocate with Nicole at that point, Tina is kind of just. I feel like she's kind of at this point she's hit her limit. Like it feels like her brain is overloaded. She's confused a little bit by what games the girls are trying to play. So she's just like, you know what? I'm sick of Nicole being overlooked. I'm just gonna be fair and give my point to Nicole. And at that point, everybody had kind of got a point. So I think Tina was kind of expecting to get a point, but what I don't think she was expecting for Lydia to actually reciprocate the point that Kerri was given to her earlier, and so she gives her point to Kerri, who now has 2 points. And I don't know if production even thought that that was even a possibility based off of how things will end up going, later this episode, that Kerri could possibly be back into this. But this sends Tina into a total hissy fit, honestly. And she kind of, to me, feels like she's just more pissed off she didn't get a point. More so than anything else. And I gotta kind of laugh to some degree because she does start talking about like how everybody is playing alliances when she is ultimately at the end of the day just more pissed off that her alliance with Lydia didn't work out. So, um, Jack, what were your kind of thoughts of Tina's reaction here because I know you're her number one fan here. So I want you to help me see the other perspective here that maybe I'm not seeing. Is why is Tina so mad? Because she's clearly the villain here. Because Mistress and Lydia and Jorgeous, they all had the conversation. They all confirmed here that she is not the one trying to plot. It was Tina actually the one that was plotting there, especially when she was trying to have a heartfelt moment with Kerri. Kerri, she was trying to have a heartfelt moment with Nicole. And that was when Tina went off to strategize about it. So, I'm very conflicted here. Why anybody other than Tina is seen as the villain and why Tina is surprised. So Jack, as her number one fan, please help me understand.
I'm not her number one fan, but I will say it makes sense to be upset. But at the same time, this is a game about strategy. So she's totally allowed to be all up in her feels. Like, that's totally fine. I get that she's upset, but here's the thing that I said before they did this pinning ceremony of the points or whatever, and what I told everyone, and I told them all, like, if it were
You
me after
DM'd them
that
all
shenanigans
right before
from
the
the
challenge, right?
first, what?
You said you DM'd them all right before as they were going
No,
into
I
this big
said
ceremony.
I just told you all. If it were me, I would never have given out my point until Lydia first gave out her point and then Tina gave out her point. Then we can get to the points because it should have been at that point. Everyone was like, "Oh, we don't trust each other," blah blah blah. Then stick to that. Stick to that T and don't trust each other and force them to give out their points first because then you can't be surprised by all that shit that happens. And I think the big thing there was Tina was quick to the gun to give out her point, and Nicole was quick to give out her point. And then we saw Kerri give out her point and Lydia give out her point. And it was like, well, wait a minute. Like, why would you have not made the girl with the most points go first? That's just my thoughts on it, though. I mean, so I understand why she's upset, but I think it was okay for her to be especially pissed when Mistress tried to say that she was plotting or something. Because, like, you should, it was funny. I loved it. But, like, let's not act like she's not allowed to be in her feelings about it. Because, I mean, I would be too. But I would never be that dumb to let Mistress do everything that she wants. Because this group might have the lowest IQ of any group of girls average possible. Like, we're just watching the Mistress show right now. And that's all it's been the whole time.
I was wondering at first to some degree. I was like, was Carrie actually buying into this? I think by the end of this, I think we could probably maybe confirm that that was probably not true. I think she was trying a little move of her own on her end, which we'll get into in just a little bit. But let's kind of diverge just for a quick moment here to kind of go over the challenge because that's kind of what most of the episode was them preparing for this Rusical challenge here, which is Starbooty the Rebooty. And I was kind of laughing during the team selection because Mistress basically wanted her and her minions to be the villains, and that's what ended up happening because Carrie again kind of plays into whatever she's trying to do on her end with Mistress, and they're playing into it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I totally agree with you that I would be good at this other role," and totally letting Mistress and them have whatever they wanted, which I personally felt like it did kind of work out with her in the end here, but was this whole process too meta with, Mistress and Lydia and Jorgeous becoming the villains here in Nicole and Tina and Kerri becoming the heroes ultimately?
Was it too meta? No. It wasn't too meta. I wouldn't go that far. I would say it was kind of on brand, and it was funny because I think a lot of the girls got roles that really speak to them. So I was kind of like here for it. I don't think it was like this. I actually don't think it went in the right direction that Mistress had expected it to go either. Until production got their hands on it. If we're gonna keep it 100, let's keep it 100. It was not the judgments were very questionable at best in this episode, and I think you can see here this is where you really have to decide like, are you going to be okay with watching a reality show that is overly produced? And the answer is I'm going to be okay with it because I love watching the runways. And that's the most important thing to
Agreed.
me at this point because one thing you can't do on the production is you can't really destroy someone's outfit before they get on the stage.
I mean, they
Like
could. They could just
You
be like, you're just
could.
not allowed to wear this for whatever reason, which they've done before. Which I get why they let me, or I wouldn't say I know why per se, but I guess there's a reasoning behind whatever decision they want to make for the time that we are at whenever they make the decisions. But I'm like, I didn't see the issue with that. If they want to say no to it, I mean, that's on them. But like they could definitely do things if they really want to. Like let's be very real,
They
Jack.
probably could, but they're not gonna, because they do not care in the slightest about people's actual uh, runway when it comes to anything going on. I don't think they're like that doesn't go into the judging ever. Like it almost never becomes
True. Unless
so like it
even in
doesn't
the
matter.
design challenges, sometimes the runway
Well,
doesn't.
there's a lot to say there too, trust, but I don't think I should get into that because we'll be here all night.
Oh, well, right, right. Well, one thing I did want to get into before we got to the main stage, I don't know if there's anything you want to talk to about this point here, but we did get a little foreshadowing here, which honestly, when I was watching this episode, I didn't expect anything to really matter in the conversations. Like I kind of already had it locked in my head. The top three were likely going to be the top three, just based off of what we kind of knew was going to happen, heading into this episode.
It's who
But
they're pushing as a goal for sure.
Right, right.
They were
But
pushing
we
too
do get it.
hard.
We do get a little foreshadowing towards the MVQ ceremony here, where Mistress, Jorgeous, and Kerri, apparently they're making up a little bit. But Kerri feels like she's kind of figured out the game a little bit finally in her head.
Sure,
Like she's
girl.
like, you know
Sure.
what? I know. I know what's going to happen here, and I need to play the game. And I'm like, okay, girl, finally. Like, thank you, Phoenix, for finally coming to the stage after 3 weeks. But honestly, I didn't think this conversation was going to matter at all. I fully expected Mistress to kind of win the challenge, and I think that's why I wasn't really like paying attention. But did you expect this conversation to actually kind of play a role here? Because it does actually kind of play a little bit of a
No.
role in the end game.
No, I never expected anything here to ever play a role because, like, let's be real. I mean, come on. Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, kind of thing. But with production specifically here, you know, we're not going to get anything different than what they want. So at the end, we're still going to get the same. We're still going to get the same outcome, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so it doesn't really matter. It never matters.
it really doesn't.
Everyone knows that it doesn't.
Did you have any last words about the episode before we get to the runway here?
No, fuck it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't really have very much to say either. It felt very kind of cut and dry, but let's go ahead and get to Jack's favorite part of the podcast. Our
I don't
runway
know.
critiques here, which we're about to call the Yas or Mas, and tonight's category is, that's what it's going to sound like, and it's going to be like that forever, and it's going to be a little bit coated in post-COVIDness. So, kind of love that for that. And tonight's category is the Wild Wild West, which it's kind of fun considering we have an abundance of Texas queens this season. So, Jack, who were your standouts this week, and who had stood out for the wrong reasons?
I think we can all agree as a community, as much as you all love her and want to support her, no matter what it is, come on. Nicole Paige Brooks was looking a damn fool. Like, I was shook. I was like, you walked up the house looking like this and thought you looked good. Oh. So I was like, it must be so nice to live in such delusion.
You know,
Um,
there's part of me that actually kind of really liked this until everything else came
no,
out.
no,
I liked
trash,
it for what I
garbage.
saw on her, but I was like, you know what? Once we got to the end, I was like, yeah, Nicole, cat, no, mess.
It was just a rough time for Nicole Paige Brooks on this runway. I mean, it's been kind of rough on all the runways, if we're going to be real. But, I think that it was fitting, right? Okay, so let's get to the real good stuff here. I think Tina coming out first was really nice. I really enjoyed this Western look. I loved how she used the rope and the cowboy boots. You know, it's not like just normal cowboy boots. They had like a bunch of stars on them, and the it gave very much like giddy up cowboy but mega couture. So I was like, okay, yeah, I see this. Right? It was nice. We have Lydia. I think she had a lot of good moments in this outfit. It would look so good with the denim and the rope. Has to be obviously stated. And then I loved Kerri Colby. We have to talk about this. This really gave me like more of a, I would say like a Cowboy Carter kind of version of, I guess if I would call that like Wild Wild West. Like we definitely saw the Wild Wild West inspiration. It was definitely more glamour, it felt like, than it was anything else for the Wild Wild West, but it kind of stood out because of that, right? Those raindrops dripping like crystal. It was so good. It was so good. It was so fun to look at.
Hmm.
And then I think the other girls, when we really break it down, it's hard because Mistress looks good, but I think there was some issues with her fit in the crotch area and especially the pants, and I wonder if that's because of the weight loss. I was really thinking, I was like, I think there's some weight. I think this might be a weight loss thing because they were just so baggy, there. It
Hmm.
was just not very forming in the legs area, and I could kind of see it look almost like there was more padding there now to like try to make up for that.
Right.
And it makes sense. And I think the outfit looked great until we got to that point. But unfortunately, that does kind of bring it down, right? So it has to be taken into consideration. And as far as Jorgeous go, it was just a basic outfit of a saloon girl, and this was like the final part of a reveal from the full saloon girl getup into this is like the final part that's underneath it all. But it was just so undone. Like it felt like there was nothing past like the top area of her body. Once we got to the bottom, it was very well, there's nothing else going on here. It was cute. I like that she chose a saloon girl. It very much fit her drag aesthetic. It was good, but it was very like, and here we are again with another meh kind of outfit that could have been good.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree basically with your end on here. I think Carrie definitely was my favorite. She definitely looks so good. She always looks so good on the runway. I think she's definitely, without a doubt, the standout from the pink group as far as her runway goes. I would not be surprised to see her end up being the one that ends up getting, another a fan vote or fan vote for her amongst the poll here, which would ultimately be her being what her third, I think I would say out of this group. She got her the entrance she got last week's. So for me, she definitely would get or three out of this one for sure. Which is sad considering we're not going to see any more runways from Carrie. But every as far as everyone else goes too, I do think Tina was my second favorite as well too, just based off of the fact that like I really liked the uh idea of her doing the Wonder Woman meets Western. Like it was definitely like a very cool like cosplay idea of like taking uh, s- uh another kind of aesthetic that someone would use in like a video game kind of thing. Like if we were to like watch like a Wonder Woman game,
Yeah,
she had like different like costumes. That's what that felt like. That this was like the Western option of Woman. I thought that was like really and I thought her body looked really good too, as well, which we don't really. I feel like that's something that Tina doesn't hear a lot. So I just wanted to make sure that I was like, Tina, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this look. Lydia was probably my next one here, just based on the fact that like it was a very unexpected look, with just kind of the way that she did the kind of the cow print, and then like the way that it was like a weird inflated like stirrup kind of thing. Like I was kind of feeling that. Like it was it was still giving me like the Heidi when she did like the strawberry look kind of thing, but like make it Western. And I'm like, okay, I like this. I'm feeling this. And then I like what she was sold it to me honestly, especially like with the rope and whatnot. It was really good. Um, Mistress, what I realized is Mistress doesn't sell it for me on the runway as much as she could. Like she feels a little dead on the runway. Like she doesn't have as much fun out there as I really wish she kind of could. But I still think it was a really good look. It was just kind of I would say, I guess, based off of what came before it, a little more basic than what everybody else went, and it was still not a bad look. But you were right; there were definitely places where things could have been improved. And I do like the idea of Georges's, but like you kind of said, we're kind of it's the same kind of silhouette that she's given for forever, you know. And I'm like, last week I was very much cool with it. I was like, she could have given a little bit more on this one. Like, could you imagine if she would have came out this one and actually went with like a really regal swoon girl kind of thing, and like you said, like revealed into this? Like that would have been really cool. Like that would have actually like been something that I don't think we've seen very much from Jorgeous. And then I felt like she just still didn't really give it to us. So um, it's still not a bad look. I feel like if this came out last week. I would still be okay with it, and then I would just maybe hate the plant look a little bit more. But
Like
I
was so good compared.
it is good, but I'm just saying it's like it's still similar ideas. It's like body fitting, type ideas, and it's against her aesthetic. It's her thing, but it does a little played out. I was hoping for something different, and she didn't give me anything different this season, at all. And Nicole was Nicole. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get to the judging. Because honestly, I did not agree with this whatsoever. Whatsoever. I did not agree at all. And this is my first chop when it's come to the judging whatsoever. Like, I let them get away with giving Lydia the win in the first round over Mistress. And then, like, last week, um, I I was okay with them giving it to Mistress and Jorgeous, even though I could have seen something different happening last week too. But this week, I'm sorry, I just do not agree with them not giving Kerri Colby any sort of recognition for her top spot. Just because for me, if you want to be real, this whole episode was just them coming down to that confessional that George had where it was like where I'm feeling a little jealous over Lydia and because she's my new favorite twink. And so it's like this is like the lip sync to determine who is going to be the twink of the season. And I'm just like I'm sorry, just make Rue decide and put that bitch up against Kerri because she deserves a top spot here. I don't care. Um, I just don't get why she didn't get any sort of respect at all whatsoever this season. But you know, um, Jack, did you agree that Kerri should have won here, or anybody else should have been in the top here other than what we got?
Girl, this judging was just such a chop. This was trash, mama. This was production setup. I was like, I can't believe this because this challenge it was pretty good. I mean, I had some issues specifically with the choreography, but I'll get into that in a second. But the top two to me was clearly Kerri. I don't think anyone can disagree and say Kerri wasn't in the top for this Rusical because you couldn't not want to watch Kerri the whole time. And even if you want to
Mhm.
say just in her group or whatever, I think that's important to note. And they had nothing bad to say about Kerri, but when you really look at everything else going on, you look at the characterization of the girls, and the only people who really gave me any kind of character were like Mistress and Tina, and I really think Tina probably should have been in the top two, in my opinion, just because I think she really did give the character. Now, granted, it was kind of her. I think a lot of these were typecast, right? I think we really did get that typecast of the good
Right.
girls versus the bad girls. But I think there was still a lot of character that Tina was constantly in the moment. She was giving us everything. The face was constantly there. And I knew she was like acting it out, right? I could not say that about a lot of the girls, especially in the villain group. I felt like the villain groups, their characterization, yes, like it wasn't great. And the choreography kind of sabotaged them. But if we take away the choreography and just go about the characterization itself, the characterization wasn't really there. Like, I
No.
remember Michelle said that one thing about the lip, and you mentioned it yourself
Yeah,
before
I
we
did
went into
not,
this
I didn't
season.
even notice it until they pointed out. I was like, oh, is that what she was doing? That she was like, oh, you're making your lips go to the right. I was like, well, one lip, well, her bottom lip wasn't doing that, by the way. It was her top lip. Um, but like, okay, sure, if that's what we're saying is characterization, but I was like, I literally did not notice that until she brought it up in critiques. Um, at all whatsoever. So that's why I was like, I was very much so like Lydia and Jorgeous, yes, they're doing the choreography, and Mistress is doing the
Right.
characterization, but no one for me is giving me kind of both as far as I was concerned in the villains group. Like they looked good as a whole. And as far as I'm concerned, Kerri was giving us both in her first group, so much to the point where it was just like my eyes were constantly going to her all the time. So I do think Tina was probably on a little bit more than I want to give her credit for, just because I haven't rewatched it back since the first time. I really should have. But like my eye was constantly just on Kerri the whole time, so I was very shocked, and I'm just very at the point where I'm like, what are we judging Rusicals on anymore? Because like All Stars 9, let's go back here as well. Very much so. Like everybody was like at that point, like Jorgeous, yes, she sold it for me on that just based off of the choreography and who her character was. But her character, because she was a robot, didn't have to act like, let's be real, as real in depth at all. Because right, that's kind of what George just kind of gives already is that pretty pink robot choreography. She already doesn't really express much in her face at all, even when she's lip syncing. Like anybody, go back and watch any of her lip syncs. Literally the same facial expression in every single lip sync she does, regardless the song. So I'm like, if that actually matches a robot, I don't think it worked out for her here. And if they want to say that, yeah, she moved her lips to the side and that's the reason that that's different than any other performance she gave, okay, sure. Um, I still don't see why that means that Kerri can't be in the top here because she actually moved her lips in a number of different ways, had a number of different facial expressions the whole entire time. Like she
Oh,
gave me the bimbo like no other, and I'm just like I don't, I'm very confused, Jack. I'm very confused.
I'm not.
I mean, I get it that they want a certain specific something to happen, but like
Yeah.
probably could have happened, probably regardless, had you decided to maybe not give certain individuals a half point last round, but
No, that's what they want to happen. That's why they needed the half points. They could guarantee everything. I mean,
no.
and I want to go into further detail with the villain group. I do feel like
Yeah.
when I was looking at the choreography, some of the things that were said and done during the choreography were very mistaken and misshapen and wrong. Um, Not about people hitting the right choreography or not. Like, yes, Kerri and Tina were doing their choreography right, and yes, they were giving characterization, which is why I put them in the top two personally. But I didn't feel like the villain choreography specifically did not, in the slightest, match up to like their personality or what they're supposed to be doing as those characters. And it could just be me, I guess, but I felt that the choreography actually went against what the lyrics were saying. Like when George's character was talking about like tying them up and like torturing or whatever, I was like, her character was not doing any of that, and the choreography was nothing to do with that.
You
And so I
wanted
was so
her to give more
confused.
like when she was doing her Rappin Roast and every single choreographed movement was what she was rapping.
No, no, I don't need all of that. But what
No,
I
I'm
need
just
is like
playing.
the
I get what you're
choreography to
saying.
really just match something of the element of the character. And
hmm
I feel like her character was supposed to be more devious and rude and like,
I
it just
didn't
wasn't
really
giving
get
that.
any sort of idea of what the villain personalities were supposed to be other than their villains, honestly.
You didn't, and that was like one of the big issues for me with like Lydia and George's personally, which is why I was surprised they were in the top two
I
outside of
wasn't that
production.
surprised. It kind of makes sense if you kind of think about it
Well,
based on the
production,
fact that because
yeah.
they could be like, oh, well, we could kind of characterize these however we want to, which I kind of think was some reason why maybe Mistress wanted those roles. But like still, it's just like I don't know, like. Uh,
I mean, and then
why does there
during
always
the
got to be one episode like this? There's always got to be
there's
one.
there were
I
more than
mean,
just one.
this whole pink bracket was kind of like that. I was willing to
It,
forgive it, but I'm just kind of like now that we're at the end of it, I'm like, I liked
but
it,
it's
and now I kind of hate it too.
what's important here is that we know that it's produced. We know that they want certain outcomes, so they're going to push for those things. And it's okay to like but it's okay to call that out also and be like, this is one of the issues I think with the show. Even though I like it so much, like that's one of the issues we always see. But the choreographer also, like, I don't know exactly what he was getting at because he was like, Tina, you look like you're NFL stomping down the runway, and her character was literally about being too masculine, like being the masculine, big, like NFL down the runway kind of thing stomping. I was like, that's her characterization. That's what she's supposed to be doing. And I was like, if you take
It's
out the
probably a
characterization from
little
the
too.
choreography,
I'm just
which is what I felt like
kidding.
she was, I felt like that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to like tell her like, don't do the characterization. I was like, if you don't do the characterization, then they're just gonna be all the same girl.
Right, right. No, I definitely agree. There was just, I don't know, it was a little, just all weird. I don't know. I just, why? Why does it always gotta be that one episode? Does it always have to be that one episode?
Yes, yes,
And
it
and
does, or
with
else we're
and
not
with the
gonna see
queen that
results.
I want to see win the most, I'm just like, ugh, ugh, blah.
And it didn't have to happen this way, but
It really didn't. But instead, we do get a Jorgeous and Lydia B. Collins win. And they lip sync off to Texas Hold'em by Beyonce, which I I I really honestly don't care the song, so whatever.
I think it
um,
was fine. It was just kind of boring.
this is another example where it's like we have like another like relevant song that's not necessarily like a good lip sync song. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, sure.
I think it could have
Um,
been, but I think there was too much direction on performance in terms of what moves I'm doing and not what I could do with the song.
I don't know. I just wasn't. I don't know. It was. I mean, the oldest expression we had in that was a 24-year-old. So like we weren't gonna get a different take from that other than let's slay this mama.
I mean, that song's
Um,
kind of made for. I, the song is kind of made for the younger generation, if we're being honest. But
it kind of
like,
is, but like I
I
don't
just,
know.
I don't know. There's,
I have
it
I have
was, it
I
was an
don't
okay
really
lip
like
sync,
it.
except for Lydia being there. I was like, can you throw her off the stage, please? This is trash, Mama.
Well, either way, the lip sync happened. Georges won, and she gets herself to 7.5 points, while Lydia is right behind her with 6. And we now get our final MVQ ceremony, which, if you remember, is on the main stage, which I do like that added aspect to everything here. But, when the points end up being distributed here, we get some behind the scenes backstab as Nicole and Tina are conspiring to push Kerri forward, but it all stems on whether or not will Mistress give her point to Kerri because Kerri gives her point to Tina. Wow. Nicole and Tina give their points to Kerri, and it all comes down to Mistress. Will she be tricked? Of course not, because this is some third grade bull trying to be bold right here. Like, of course, she's not gonna be dumb enough to give her points to someone who's gonna get points. So she throws her points to Lydia. Lydia ends up getting 7 points, which is kind of ridiculous. With George's 7.5, but Mistress ends up moving on with 4.5 points. Jack, did the right girls move on to the semifinals here?
No,
Yes.
we're gonna keep it 100%. Like, I mean, come on. Lydia wasn't even in the top for the first challenge. She wasn't in the top this challenge. Lydia is just a Rue favorite girl at this point. We all know it. We all can see it. I know that there's a lot of Lydia lovers and supporters out there, but if you really love someone or support someone, you got to be honest with yourself and with them, and that's the best way to show support, in my opinion. And I think we got to be real about this. Lydia didn't earn a win this whole season.
Hmm?
So it's weird. I mean, Tina gets, the what we were all expecting. Tina gets a little screwed over like she did on her first season. Kerri gets screwed over. But at the same time, Kerri never had a chance because Mistress isn't dumb. Mistress is like the only person here who probably passed math class. So,
Who?
I mean, well, I mean, based on what was going on here, no
I
offense,
mean,
but,
for real.
Tina is a is probably the second smartest person in the group, I guess. And I don't even know if Nicole Paige Brooks ever got her GED. Like Jorgeous definitely didn't. Uh, like Kerri, love her, but she's so airheaded all the time.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean,
I feel like if Kerri ended up in any other group this season, she probably would have stood a chance. I don't think she came in here to try to
no.
play this game. I mean, what it comes down to, honestly, is in as much as I love her, Mistress did kind of really screw everybody in this pink group when she came here playing the head games that she decided to play, which I'm not mad at. I'm really not mad at. But at the same time, though, too, like I don't think we could also really be that mad at queens like Kerri and Tina and Nicole, or even Lydia or Jorgeous for anybody doing what they did, what they thought, because they did what they thought was in their best interest. Like that's why I can't be mad at Lydia, because Lydia, honestly, she played the game. She went in. She is the girl that made alliances with everybody, that undercover like was screwing people over left and right, was playing the Mistress game a little bit more than Mistress was playing, but she was playing the game that was gonna get her to the next level. Like I can't be mad at anybody playing at the social game. And that's partially what like this format allows you to do. And I mean that's kind of what All Stars has always allowed them to do. Like Roxy Andrews would never have made it to the top four had it been an actual, truly judged fair format. As much as I love her in All Stars too, like she never would have made it that far. Let's be real. So it's like the format has never ever been 1,000% fair, ever. And that's
Yeah,
what
definitely.
it we have to kind of understand. But at the same time, though, too, like we can also look at the fact that yes, did the right queens make it through? Probably not whatsoever. Did production help with that? Absolutely, because they made some crazy decisions in this whole situation. But I think if they didn't make some of these decisions, I think personally for me, Mistress probably deserved a win or two that she didn't get, and probably should have been in a better position going into this episode, to the point where they didn't have to sabotage the judging in this episode,
Agreed.
to do what they needed to do with that. Now, if that was a situation where maybe Lydia got hindered because of that, okay, well that was is what it is. But like episode one, let's be real, should have been Mistress versus Tina. I'm fine with
Yeah.
Mistress and George's episode two. That's cool. But this really should have been Kerri and some combination of Tina, Jorgeous, and Lydia in that other spot, without a doubt. And at that point, it wouldn't have mattered because Mistress probably would have been okay, because they probably would have handed her a lip sync or two in the other spots. There, like she definitely would have won that lip sync versus Tina, without a doubt. So I'm just like, why didn't you just give her episode one lip sync like she decided? But like also at the same time from the two, like I think the MVQ point ceremonies were some of the best drama that we have gotten in this whole season. So I'm not mad at kind of how we got to this point. Does it feel icky? Does it feel like there should have been a better way to get to this point? Yes. Does it feel like maybe another girl or she probably could have been there instead of what we got? Absolutely. But if the end goal here is to give Mistress her crown, like really should be happening here. I'm fine
Let
that
it
she gets to the end
happen.
here with two of her minions. Then she has Bosco and Aja that are clearly, and honestly, Irene probably, that are clearly in her corner tier too. So, honestly, like I'm kind of excited for this merge group. But does it leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth? Absolutely, because like, why do we have to have crazy episodes and things like that that make us feel that way? Um, but Jack, my final question for you, because we're gonna get to some real tea here, because we haven't had some real tea in a hot minute. We've been rushing through these for a hot minute, but let's spill a little bit of real tea. Do we think these points ultimately are gonna matter in the semifinals here, or do you think they're gonna start afresh? Just because, like, wouldn't Jorgeous or Irene just basically be the front runners at this point, and Lydia too, because they all have 7.5.
I mean, anything is possible. I don't know that they're going to keep these points. If they do, it kind of feels like the beginning part never even really mattered, though. Because what if other people who are in the top all those times just completely bomb, but because they had so many points before, they just go through because of it? That'd be kind of strange. But I mean, we don't know what this format has to come. Look, what this format is going to have. So maybe
Are you still a fan of this format? Because for me, the mystery of what's happening at the merge is a little weird. Like I wish we kind of knew a little bit so we can kind of prepare ourselves, but the fact that we don't know just makes me think something this way comes to the point where I'm like, Rue, what are you about to throw at us? What are you about to get the fan base riled up with to the point that we can't know what a happening? What how we don't even know how many queens are gonna be at the lip sync SmackDown. You know, like
yeah, it's really hard to know what's going to happen.
it's it feels very weird in some degree. Like it feels like a weird shadow looming over the season. But yeah, I don't know if I feel like these points are gonna matter or not. It feels like to some degree maybe they have a situation built in where they do matter and a situation built in where maybe they don't. And this season they could kind of say, well, they are gonna matter, and then maybe next season they won't, or maybe they could kind of throw that in as a twist for whatever's happening for All Stars 11. Honestly, like I feel like because they are leaving things up to chance, that really kind of means things could be taken in any direction. So I'm hesitant. I'm kind of back to where we were before. Like I was excited, and then like Orange happened, and I think everybody was kind of like, yeah, okay, like okay, we could feel for this. It's happened a second time. Um, it feels a lot longer as well too, just because we've actually had to go through all 3 weeks. We didn't have to go through all 3 weeks the first time. We got the first 2 weeks like thrown at us right away last time. It I don't know if I like the fact that there's that much time in between episodes to wait. So I'm a little worried, concerned for how I'm feeling like Purple Group's gonna go. But I'm still trying to remain hesitant. Do we have any thoughts about the fact that Purple Group's going to have a design challenge and it's going to be a spooky design challenge?
I love a design challenge first and foremost. Do I think this works kind of well for certain people in this group? Yes. But I think something about this is all about adaptation as well. If you're able to do good designs, if you're able to make yourself look good, it should be easy to make a certain kind of witchy design like they're asking for or whatever. And again, looking at who we have coming in, clearly you can go good witch route.
Hmm. Right, especially when you have Ariana Grande and excuse me, I didn't watch the Glenda movie, so I don't know who the other girl is. I know her
Cynthia,
by face, but don't know her by name.
cut it right now,
Um,
girls.
yeah, let's
She's
cut
gonna
it
get
and just
canceled.
insert her name here because I can't just do that because they're about to kill me. Even though I bought the movie, I just haven't watched it. But there's like 8 or 9 movies on my list right now that I'm like, I should have watched these like forever ago. I'm bad with movies, so like, don't ask me to watch certain movies unless it's a horror movie. I probably have not watched it. Um, yeah, what is her name? Can someone please Google
It's
this
Cynthia.
movie? Cynthia?
Cynthia and Ariana.
Okay. Yeah, Cynthia, yes. And Ariana, yes. I love them. They're my favorite. Love them. Love Cynthia. Love Ariana. Love them. Love Pink.
God,
Um,
yeah.
um well, Jack, did you have any final words here as we head in? As the sunset, literally, the sunset is setting here. We went from the orange group to the pink group to now the purple group. The sun is setting on the semifinals of All Stars 10. Do you have any words here as we go from pink, purple?
Uh, no, I don't have any words because it's not gonna matter what I say, girl.
It was
I,
so
I'm
beautiful. I
I'm
had such a beautiful euphemism for all of this, and you're like, no.
no, because girl, all that matters to me honestly is I'm a big fan of a lot of the girls in this group, so I want to see some good designs, but at the same time, like I know what's about to happen with some of this rigomoris, if you will. We have a couple girls coming back. Uh, And I think one of the girls coming back specifically for her 14th time. I mean,
So
I feel
imagine
like she's
who,
going through no
Alyssa
matter
Hunter,
what.
how dare you say those things about her?
Not Alyssa
How
Hunter.
dare
You can write me
you?
to Alyssa Hunter.
How dare you?
I love
You're
Alyssa
so
Hunter.
rude. So rude. Justice for Lysandra, y'all. Well, as always, I guess, I can't wait to see how this will turn out. And hopefully
I
you can't
mean,
either, y'all.
maybe.
Especially if y'all made it this far. Again, thank you so much for listening. And make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and comment below because we'd love to hear your thoughts on the season as well too. Are you just as hesitant as us, or is this a situation where should we have nothing to worry about? Is everything making sense in your eyes? And if you're a Lydia fan, maybe don't answer that. Maybe anybody other than a Lydia fan can answer that. But until
Thanks
next
for
time,
canceling me for sure.
on behalf of my co-caster, the number one Tina Burner fan, number one Lydia B. Collins, and Olivia Lux hater, QuackrrJack.
I I'm not even an Olivia Lux hater. I'm just an Olivia Lux truther. It's just very different.
Okay, true. Okay, yeah. In behalf of my co-caster, QuackrrJack, this is Renegade signing out. And remember, y'all, keep spilling that tea. Bye.